Moving into our third topic for today, we'll be discussing understanding and addressing the operational challenges in Cambodia. I'll be joined by Mr. Murray Koh, who is the founder and CEO of Meriden International Holding and CKHG Consultancy. Mr. Murray is a successful entrepreneur in Hong Kong and Cambodia, whose core businesses among his varied investments include real estate and textiles. He founded Meriden International Holdings in Cambodia in 2015 and has built up a portfolio of quality land reserves around the country. Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Murray.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, no worries. I think firstly we'll just start with just briefly explaining how you've come here to Cambodia.
Actually, I think let me introduce a little bit development of Radiant and our company at CKHG.
Okay.
I started my career since 1980, and then I have a quite good 10 years for the development in Hong Kong. And after that, I developed in China for another 10 years. And later on, and China is also getting more and more expensive. Then I started to look for another market to develop. And I found the Cambodian is one of the best compared to, at that time, I was investigating in Bangladesh and South Africa. And comparatively, I found the best is Cambodia. Okay. Then I moved to here. And luckily, then I have another 10 years golden period again in Cambodia. And then we developed from a textile company and moved into a developer. And in the last 10 years, Radiant International Holding successful to develop more than 1,500 units, including the residential, hotel, and also the office. And the last year, we also have a subsidiary company called CKHG, okay, which is the consultancy company to pass all our success experience to the new investor into the market.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it sounds like it's been quite a journey, quite a successful one for you as well.
Yeah.
Now, the speakers before you have talked about the potential and opportunities that business and investors have overlooked in Cambodia. But since the country is obviously still developing and skilled labor may be a challenging issue, what do you see for some of the local requirements that foreign businesses must comply with when they decide to set up their office or a factory, for example? And what are some of the common challenges they may anticipate?
I think that was I can conclude into the 5 points of the challenges. So far we have number one, that was there was a lot of the so-called the gray area business operation in Cambodia, and then you can easily to have a lot of the gray customs and a lot of the gray area. This is number one. And number two, I think that the local officer normally I think the majority of the officer will use Khmer as a language, and that will be rather difficult for the foreigners to invest, to start their business in here. And number three, there was there was advantage in Cambodia and also the disadvantage. There was a quite high, if you don't know the market very well, there will be quite high turnover of the staff. And number four, I think, if when you have in Cambodia, there was not so developed for mass transportation, which means there was a serious shortage of the mass transportation and also the storage system, and make the business development not so effective. Mm. And the last but not the least, after the pandemic, it was obviously there was a shortage of labor in the long term. Yeah.
Mm. I think, yeah, definitely. The language is an interesting one. We find that one's also slowly but surely coming along. English is becoming much more prevalent. But yeah, I do agree some of those pain points. Now, I guess those are the key challenges. From your experience, though, what would be some of the solutions you'd recommend to overcome these issues?
I think for the gray area, this is quite especially only in Cambodia, and in my opinion, to understand what is a gray area is really rather important, and not to complain with gray area and not to accept the gray area, to operate in the gray area, because the gray area will bring your business a short-term advantage, but definitely that is not a long term. In my opinion, you should have a consultancy company who has success experience in Cambodia already. And this consultancy company is not limited to a law firm or an accounting firm. It must be a company who has an experience already. And if you can, that will be a very good, you have the company can also have the service with your mother language. For example, if you're a Japanese investor, their consultancy, at least they have the Japanese service, customer service, or your home language. If you speak French, then you'll have a French customer service in this company. Yeah. And then the second one, I think for the high turnover of the Khmer staff, I think this is coming from misunderstanding of the local staff with the foreign investor. The best solution for the foreign investor, they should try to build up the localization. The localization not means, I want to be localization. They needed to try to employ or to upgrade the local staff to be the executive staff, which means how to train up, how to understand all this, or how to equip those people. And honestly, if you would like to have a quick develop in this area, I think a consultancy company who can provide all the service together is also a good solution. And for the shortage of workers, I think this is like the development of all the cities. I think this is also the time to move the factory out from Phnom Penh at this moment. I think Phnom Penh in the long run, when the mass transportation and now the government start to build a lot of the infrastructure, and they have a lack of the mass transportation and storage. This is, I think that this is it will be the past tense soon. The government is now under the help of the foreign country. They have quite quickly developed in the infrastructure, and I think that will be also a good opportunity for you, for the investor, to move their factory outside of Phnom Penh. For example, to Kampong Cham, to Chakao, or Kampong, the city that was not only focused in Phnom Penh. And in the past years, those areas, maybe the transportation caused a lot of headache. Since the infrastructure is well developed, and this type of the problem may be solved sooner or later. And that was also a good opportunity for the investor to move out from the Phnom Penh city as well. And for the last solution, for the last solution of the business of the mass transportation, I think this is the problem and also is the opportunity for the investor. I think that at this moment, after the pandemic, quite a lot of the people also recognize the storage is shortage, not only in Cambodia, also in the developed country, is shortage of the storage. I think it's also good opportunity for the investor to look for to coordinate with the government to have to develop in the local infrastructure, like the storage, like the logistic or warehouse, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think there's some of the very interesting points there that you've touched on. Now, I guess also over the next 3 to 5 years, what do you see some of the key investment or business opportunities that may be emerging in Cambodia?
I think Mr. On said very well, and Mr. Michael also said very well. That was a huge opportunity in Cambodia because there were. I don't need to hear them because they speak very well already. But I only want to emphasize one thing. Actually, I think for this part is underestimate or not draw enough attention for a lot of investors. For example, Cambodia is a very good with the natural resources. They have 365 days with sunlight. Even raining, they have a sunlight. And then they have enough of water because the Mekong River and Tonle Sap River is surrounding the whole country. And I think, we should take the opportunity, not only focus on the light industry, and more than the light industry, I think that the development for agricultural product or agricultural byproduct or use the human resource or the natural resources like the sun and the water to develop another type of the business. For example, there was a lot of the mango, but the mango is only seasonal food. I think that, you are in Singapore or in Hong Kong or in China, you don't find a nice mango from Cambodia. And also the river food, the seafood from Cambodia. I think when the infrastructure get well organized, the storage system and logistic system get well developed, and all these agricultural byproduct and the natural resources will be also quite good direction for the investment on the additional to the banking or take advantage of the young generation.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic note to end that topic on. I really agree. The young generation hopefully really is what we need to be grasping. Thank you so much, Mr. Murray.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you.
That was great to understand some of the challenges and obviously the solutions to those challenges.